Bette Midler made a movie crew wait for 2 hours in 1986 so that her character could wear a different color wig. He begged to be in charge. The producer got angry. Bette just smiled and said, "Trust me." It made $71 million. Bette always did things that way, even when she didn't want to. She got into fights with everyone, threw crazy parties, and scared everyone in Hollywood to death. Also, guess what? She's still going strong at 79. People aren't sure if she's crazy or smart after her latest Broadway surprise. She was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, on December 1st, 1945. Fred and Ruth Midler were her parents. They were Jewish and lived in an area where most families were Asian. Fred worked as a house painter and on a U.S. Navy base. Ruth, on the other hand, stayed at home and did housework. They gave her the name Betty Davis, but they said it with only one word. She grew up in Aiea, which is close to Pearl Harbor. Because of her background, she often felt like she didn't fit in. But the beauty and flow of the island itself gave her something to hold on to. And so did theater and music. She stood out even when she was a child. She got an award for singing Silent Night in first grade. Her mom saw something good in her and told her to go for it. She started to watch old Hollywood shows and pay attention to how the actors moved on screen. By the time she got to Radford High School, no one could avoid her. There was a lot of space around her because she talked a lot. Her peers chose her as the most dramatic and talkative person in school, and she was valedictorian in 1963. She signed up to study acting at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, but she didn't want to be there. She quit after 3 classes. She also got a small part in the 1966 movie Hawaii, but it wasn't given to her. The part was as Miss David Buff. She had just enough money from that job to do something that would change everything. In 1965, she got her things together and went to New York City. It was hard for artists to make it in New York, but she didn't waste any time. As soon as she could, she started working in small shows off of Broadway, like Miss Nefertiti Regrets and Cinderella Revisited. It was in 1966 that she got a part in the Broadway show Fiddler on the Roof. Once upon a time, she was just another voice in the chorus, but by 1968, she had become Seitel. Before leaving the show in 1970, she learned how to move around on stage and feel at ease in front of a crowd. After leaving Fiddler on the Roof, she found herself singing in the Continental Baths, a gay sauna in the basement of the Ansonia Hotel. This was not where she had planned to be. It wasn't fancy, but it was real. He played the piano and sang while she sang. Since most of the people in the crowd were men, she felt free to be loud, silly, and brave. The songs were scary, the outfits were silly, and the jokes were funny. Back then, spots like the Continental Baths were more than just places to have fun. There were safe places there, and that's where she became the Divine Miss M, the role that would take her forward. Being present was just as important to Bette Midler's rise to fame as her acting. She had something no one else did from the moment she put out Divine Miss M in December 1972. Even though Barry Manilow helped make the record, Bette Midler's energy was what made it stand out. She played both old and new sounds together, added theater to pop music, and made each song into a show. People couldn't take their eyes off of it. It sold more than 1 million copies and went platinum in the US and Canada. It peaked at number 9 on the Billboard lists. Do You Want to Dance?, Friends, and Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy were its 3 biggest hits. What was that last one? It was an old Andrews Sisters song from the 1940s that Midler made her own. It was her first number 1 adult current song and got to number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Some people didn't like her for what she was. Robert Christgau of Rolling Stone said she wasn't just a singer, she changed the game. She was funny, dramatic, and had a lot of feeling. A song like Hello in there was honest and sad. Delta Dawn had a weight to it that drew people in. She was able to quickly switch from being funny to mean, and it worked. It wasn't just the music, though. It was also how she played it. She made a secret identity for herself called Divine Miss M, who was both powerful and fragile. It was risky, over the top, and dramatic, but it spoke to people, especially LGBTQ+ people. She won a Grammy in 1973 for Best New Act because of how well the album did. It was 1974 when she accepted the award, and she was already a big name in show business. In her victory speech, she used all the wit and charm that had made her famous. She was unexpected, a little crazy, and impossible to forget. Both her records and her shows became famous. She did more than just sing on stage. Every show she put on was a spectacle with lots of music, comedy, and fancy outfits. Her off-color jokes could make people laugh, and then she could quickly get them to feel very sad. She knew how to keep a crowd under control and make huge stadiums feel small. Everything was caught on film during the Depression tour in 1976. It was later turned into the Bette Midler story. It was a mix of all the things she was good at. You could expect big shows, funny moments out of the blue, and songs that stuck with you. She was already very famous for her music, but Hollywood was about to pay attention. Bette Midler first became well-known in Hollywood with the 1979 movie The Rose, a movie that is partly based on the life of Janis Joplin. She played Mary Rose Foster, a rock star who was having a hard time with fame, drugs, and emotional problems. The movie was supposed to be a true story about Joplin's life, but her family wouldn't give the rights, so the script was changed to a made-up story. Midler gave an electrifying show. People were captivated by her raw emotion and strong stage personality. She wasn't just a rock star in the movie, she was one too. For her role, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress and won a Golden Globe. Same thing happened with the movie's music. The title track, The Rose, became one of Midler's most famous songs and won her a Grammy. Some reviewers thought the movie was too predictable in how it showed fame, but it made Midler even more famous as an actress and singer. By the middle of the 1980s, Midler had shown that she wasn't just good at serious roles. She was also very good at comedic roles. In 1986, she was in 2 hits right after each other, Down and Out in Beverly Hills and Ruthless People. In Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Nick Nolte played a homeless man who moves in with a rich family and turns their lives upside down. Midler played the neurotic housewife, and she kept her character grounded in reality while making sharp comic moments. The movie did very well at the box office, making over $62 million. It was Disney's Touchstone Pictures' first R-rated hit. In the movie Ruthless People, which came out the same year, she played a wife who is kidnapped and then pays back her attackers. The movie made over $71 million at the box office, thanks in large part to her razor-sharp comedic performance. With these 2 movies, Midler became a major funny force in Hollywood. In 1988, Midler played a more emotional part in Beaches, a movie about 2 women who have been friends for a long time. She played the eager singer C.C. Bloom, whose relationship with Hillary Whitney, played by Barbara Hershey, is what makes the movie real. Some reviews thought the movie was too emotional, but people who saw it really related to its themes of friendship and loss. The music in the movie, especially Wind Beneath My Wings, made it more powerful. The song was written in 1982, but became a worldwide hit after Midler recorded it for the movie. In 1990, it won Grammy Awards for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. It also topped the Billboard Hot 100. The fact that the Beaches soundtrack went triple platinum shows how much people liked both the movie and the music. One of Midler's most popular songs, Wind Beneath My Wings, is still loved by many. It is often linked to love, thanks, and remembering things. Wasn't just known for being funny when she took on outrageous wealth in 1987. Arthur Hiller directed the funny story about 2 women who find out they're dating the same man. She was paired with Shelley Long. Instead of fighting over him, they worked together to find him, which makes things very interesting. The movie was a huge hit. It made almost $66 million around the world, which was a lot for an 80s comedy with women leading the cast. Midler's performance was even better because she was pregnant while they were making it. The movie began when she was 3 months pregnant and ended when she was 6 months. She didn't take it easy. She did a lot of her own stunts, including scenes where she had to fall over and scramble across rocks, which were very hard on her body. She wore big outfits, like a huge orange sweater, to hide the fact that she was pregnant. She really showed how funny she was, and one of her unplanned falls in front of a truck was so funny that the director kept it in the final cut. She won the American Comedy Award for Funniest Actress in a Motion Picture in 1988 because critics thought she was great in the role. The Golden Globes also put her in the running for Best Performance in a Comedy or Musical. Shelley Long's more reserved act went well with her upbeat, quick-talking style. Midler's bond with Touchstone Pictures got stronger, and the movie made her one of the biggest comedy stars in Hollywood. After a year, she worked with Lily Tomlin on the movie Big Business, which is about 2 sets of identical twins who were born switched. Both pairs grew up in wealthy cities. One pair lived in a small town in the country. Midler created two very different personalities for the two forms of Sadie she played. And her over-the-top comedic style worked perfectly with the movie's silly concept. People liked seeing Midler and Tomlin together, even though reviews were mixed. In addition, both women were up for the American Comedy Award for Funniest Actress in a Movie. Midler won the award. The movie made $40 million at the box office, which is a good haul, but not an outrageous wealth. It wasn't easy to film. They were going to use body doubles for scenes with both sets of twins at first, but it didn't look real. Both Midler and Tomlin did the opposite in the end. It looked like they were in the same scene twice thanks to smart edits and camera work. At the time, Big Business wasn't a big hit with critics, but it now has a cult following of people who love the movie's silly humor and how Bette Midler can play two different characters in one movie. She played Winifred Sanderson in Hocus Pocus in 1993, which was a very different part for her. Three witches came back to modern-day Salem and made trouble on Halloween night, as shown in the movie. Her roles as witches with Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy made them one of the most famous trios of witches in movie history. Midler's act was a mix of straight-up comedy and pure chaos. At a Halloween party, she hypnotized the crowd into dancing until they dropped. That was one of the most memorable things that happened to her. The scene was a great example of how well she could combine humor with a stunning singing number. The movie Hocus Pocus wasn't a big hit when it first came out, but became a Halloween favorite over time. The movie made $48 million at the box office, but cost only $28 million to make. But it wasn't until later that it really took off with home video sales, TV reruns, and merchandise. She has said many times that Winifred Sanderson is one of her favorite parts ever. Fans still talk about how funny and wicked she was decades later. After that, she was in The First Wives Club with Goldie Hawn and Diane Keaton in 1996. The movie showed the lives of three women who had been dumped by rich men or younger women that didn't fight. Instead, they worked together to get back at them, showing that their age and knowledge were their best qualities. Brenda was played by Midler. She was a tough, snarky single mom who had helped her husband build a successful business, but was then left behind. A lot of the funny lines in the movie came from her. The movie was even better because of how well she got along with Hawn and Keaton. Off-screen, they really got along, which made their bond on screen feel so real. The movie opened at the top of the box office charts and made a huge $181 million around the world, even though it didn't cost much to make. It also helped the careers of its three lead actresses get back on track, showing that comedies led by women could rule Hollywood. The scene where the three women sang, "You Don't Own Me," by Leslie Gore became one of the most famous parts of the movie. The song became a strong anthem for women taking back control of their lives. Bette Midler's time on Broadway was full of amazing events that shaped her career. It all began with the famous show Fiddler on the Roof. In 1966, she got a small part when she joined the group, but people didn't notice how talented she was. A few months later, in early 1967, she got a much bigger part as Tevi's oldest daughter, Sadel. When she joined the show in 1969, it was one of the biggest hits on Broadway at the time. There was more to Fiddler on the Roof than just song. More than 3,000 times, the play told a powerful story about custom and change. It became a culture landmark and won several Tony Awards. Midler later said that being a part of it changed her life. She learned the craft and magic of live theater from it. She got to show off her singing skills in the popular song Matchmaker, while she was playing Zaytel. When she did it live at the 1968 Tony Awards with her castmates, it was one of her best moments. That was already when it was clear she was unique. She had a mix of humor and heart that made her shows memorable. One thing that made her stand out was her ability to bring a character to life with both humor and feeling. I'll Eat You Last. A Chat with Sue Mengers was Midler's big return to Broadway in 2013. She hadn't been there in decades. An 85-minute show where she was the only person on stage. The challenges were very different from the big shows she had done before. In the play, Sue Mengers was a smart, powerful Hollywood agent who was both funny and scary. People loved how Midler brought the part to life with great comedic timing. The show was so popular that it made all of its money back in just 8 weeks. She had to keep the crowd's attention all by herself, which she did amazingly well, showing once more that she was a real star. After 4 years, she played Dolly Gallagher-Levi in Hello, Dolly, which is one of the most famous parts on Broadway. When the reboot opened in 2017, it was a huge hit right away. The tickets were gone right away. The show broke all kinds of records at the box office. Midler's show was a lesson in how to be charming, funny, and put on a show. She wasn't just Dolly, she was Dolly. Some people were talking about her all the time. She also won the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical in 2017. She had been a Broadway star for decades, but this was her first Tony win in a competition. She was 71 years old at the time, showing that age shouldn't stop you from putting on a great show. The time she spent in Hello, Dolly ran until early 2018, but she came back for the last few weeks before it ended in August. The part was hard on her body, but she loved every minute of it. She said it was one of the best things that had happened to her in her work. Midler's walk on Broadway has always been marked by her stage personality, her voice, and her ability to connect with people. She can sing over 2.5 octaves, and she's known for being able to switch between strong ballads and funny parts with ease. The couple got married on December 16, 1984, and they have been together ever since. Their love story stands out in a world where Hollywood weddings often end in divorce. Even though it wasn't organized or normal, it went on for a while. In 1981, they met for the first time at a show in Los Angeles, but nothing more happened. After 2 years, they ran into each other again at a club. Von Heiselberg still took his time back then. He didn't call her for a whole year before he finally did. Once they started going out together, things moved very quickly. After 6 weeks, they ran away to Las Vegas and got married at the Starlight Chapel at 2 a.m. The service cost $45 and was led by a person pretending to be Elvis. Heck, they didn't even have wedding pictures until many years later when the church found them and shared them. They started out on a whim, but they stuck together. They put in a lot of work to make the base strong. They're keeping their sense of humor and learning to give each other room. Midler jokes that one of their secrets is that they sleep in different rooms because Von Heiselberg snores. It wasn't always simple. They had a lot of fights in the beginning. It was Midler who was loud and brassy, while Von Heiselberg was quieter. They had many heated fights because of their differences, but when their daughter Sophie was born in 1986, everything changed. Family became very important. Von Heiselberg quit his job as a commodities trader to be more present and help Midler with her busy schedule while they raised their daughter. He wasn't just a quiet person in the background, though. Before he had kids, he worked as a performance artist with the Kipper Kids along with his other job. Midler says that he was the best father ever because he taught Sophie useful things like how to cook and speak other languages. Even though things went up and down, they were able to keep their relationship going because they learned to agree. Midler says it wasn't easy for her to listen and let go of small fights, but she had to. The Netflix show was all about politics, desire, and lying to get what you want. During the second season, Midler filled in as Hadassah Gold, a smart and brave political agent who knew how to work the system. She wasn't by herself. Judith Light joined her, making the two of them a powerful team in a tough state senate race. Funny, cutting jokes were what the show was known for. Midler, though, brought something extra. Her character wasn't just funny, it was also strong. This showed that women over 70 could still rule the screen. Everyone who saw her act loved it, and it quickly became one of the most talked about parts of the season. After only 1 year, she played a very different kind of part in The Glorious. She wasn't pretending to be someone else this time. In real life, Bella Abzug was a congresswoman and feminist icon who fought for equal rights for men and women with fire and emotion. Olivia Wilde and Julianne Moore played different versions of Gloria Steinem in the movie about her life. Midler made sure Bella wasn't just a girl from history. Her personality, attitude, and energy that seemed bigger than life made her stand out. The movie had its premiere at Sundance and is now available on Amazon Prime Video. Critics praised Midler for how easily she brought Abzug's brave spirit to the screen. Around 2024, Midler was back to making people laugh with The Fabulous Four, a comedy about friends for life and getting a second chance. She played Marilyn, a woman who tells her old friends she's getting married, which shocked them. Only a few months after her husband died. The movie, which took place in Key West, had everything. Fun, heart, and a great cast with Susan Sarandon, Megan Mullally, and Sheryl Lee Ralph, among others. Midler and Ralph even sang "I Can See Clearly Now" together, which was a special moment that reminded everyone of how long they had been friends. Ralph and Midler met when she was in the Broadway show Dreamgirls. Fans loved seeing these stars together on screen, and the movie showed that stories about older women could still be as exciting and fun as any blockbuster. People who like and review Bette Midler are very excited about her possible return to Broadway in May. It could be a spectacular end to her already famous career if it happens. Before this, she was on Broadway in 2017 in Hello, Dolly, where she wowed viewers and won a Tony Award for her performance. Now, she's given hints that she might play Mame Dennis in Jerry Herman's favorite show. In a recent interview, she said the score was great and that she'd love to do it. However, she also said that performing in real life at her age would be very hard. In spite of this, people still dream about what a Midler-led Mame rebirth might look like. Not only did she do well as Dolly Levi, she became famous for it. The show broke all the records for the Shubert Theater's box office and had the most advanced ticket sales in Broadway history. Many reviewers were amazed at how she mixed sassy humor with real feeling, giving an old character a whole new feel. That's why Mame seems like the next step that should be taken. The part needs someone with a big attitude, someone who can make the stage feel warm, funny, and a little crazy. This is a short summary of Midler. People are getting more and more excited. Fans are sharing their joy on social media in droves. People who work on Broadway are already guessing how she might reimagine a part that was made famous by Angela Lansbury on stage and by Lucille Ball in the 1974 movie. Some people can picture how she'd sing Mame's most famous songs like We Need a Little Christmas and If He Walked Into My Life. Without a question, she would bring something new, funny, and very moving to the role. Bette Midler has sold more than 30 million records around the world. This made her one of the most famous singers of her time. She has won a lot of awards in her singing career, including 3 Grammys. The Rose was her first album, which won her Best New Artist in 1973. Wind Beneath My Wings was her first album, which won Record of the Year in 1990. She became famous for more than just singing. For the movies The Rose and For the Boys, she was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. She also won Golden Globes for both of these roles. She made TV history by winning 3 Primetime Emmys, including one for her moving farewell act on Johnny Carson's Last Tonight Show. And when she went to Broadway, she didn't just show up, she ruled. She got the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Musical for her role in the 2017 revival of Hello, Dolly. She has also won a Kennedy Center Award and the Songwriters Hall of Fame's Sammy Cahn Lifetime Achievement Award, which shows that she has had an impact on many different types of art. She was born in Honolulu to Jewish parents from a working-class family. She worked hard and never gave up, even when things got hard. She looked up to performers like Judy Garland and the Andrews Sisters, but she also made sure to find her own way, which would go on to influence many other artists. Adele and Lady Gaga both say she has influenced them and that they love how she mixes the dramatic with the emotional. However, Midler is more than just a performer. She's always used her fame to do something bigger. She really cares about the earth and the rights of LGBTQ+ people. Her restoration project in New York has helped turn rundown city areas into healthy community gardens. She thinks that being an artist is more than just putting on a great show. It means really making a difference. In fact, she has done just that.